Good evening and welcome to the Winona League of Women Voters Forum for tonight. This is a voters candidate forum for the general election of 2016 for Winona County Commissioner candidates for the 3rd and 4th districts. I am Nancy O'Reilly and I'm the moderator for this event. Our co-sponsors are AAUW Winona Branch, Project Fine, the Women's Resource Center of Winona, Winona State University Social Workers, Students, American Democracy Project, and Student Senate, and the Students United. We are pleased to welcome those of you in our live audience and citizens who may be watching at home. We also want to thank the City of Winona for allowing us to hold this educational forum in the council chambers. For those of you watching at home, we have a call-in phone number where you can provide us with questions for the candidates. The call-in phone number is 457-8280. Again, 457-8280. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan volunteer organization organized at the local, state, and national level to encourage citizens to become educated and participant in government. While we as a league do study and take stands on issues, we do not endorse or support political parties, candidates, or tell voters how to answer referendum questions. We will read statements from candidates who are unable to attend the forum. This forum is intended to provide voters with information so they can make an educated choice on the ballot. The views expressed in this educational forum are those of the candidates. We do encourage our members as individuals, as we encourage each of you to get involved in your community. Our timekeeper for this evening is Susan Cooper. For the 2016 forums, the League of Women Voters Winona has adopted the participation policy approved by the Minnesota League of Women Voters 2016 board. The major change for all forums allows for inviting all candidates for an elected office. If only one candidate chooses to participate, the forum will be held. We will read statements from candidates who are unable to attend. Copies of the participation policy have been provided to the candidates and copies are available this evening for the public. I will briefly review our ground rules for this forum. The audience is expected to be courteous to the candidates and good listeners. This is a live cable TV broadcast. The audience is asked not to express support or concern during the forum and to hold their applause until the end of the forum. We would like to remind everyone to please turn off your cell phones and pagers. Pictures and videotaping which are not authorized by League of Women Voters are prohibited. This forum will be taped, may not be edited, and must be broadcast in its entirety in accord with all FCC regulations. The candidates may not use the educational forum video in campaign ads or literature. During the forum, we ask the audience present and our TV listeners to write down their questions or call them in at 457-8280, 457-8280. The League of Women Voters and co-sponsors will sort the questions for the moderator. The moderator will ask the questions. The League of Women Voters will determine the questions to be asked, and attempts in good faith will be made to cover all areas of interest expressed by the audience. The candidates will not know the questions in advance. Questions that are hostile, partisan, embarrassing, inappropriate, or of a personal nature will not be asked. Questions on similar topics will be grouped. Those citizens watching at home, again, please call in your questions at 457-8280. All questions will become the property of the League of Women Voters. Candidates will strictly observe the time limits on responses. The timekeeper will hold up cards to indicate the time is about to expire. Once the stop card is displayed, the candidate will stop at the end of a current sentence. Opening statement, 2 minutes. Answer to questions, 1 minute. Closing statement, 1 minute. The candidates that are with us tonight are running for Winona County 3rd District are Steve Jacob and Vince Reddy. Our Winona County 4th District are Brian Connor and Greg Olson. Candidates have agreed to allow me to use their first names. We would like to begin with opening statement for our first speaker, and we will begin with Brian Connor.
I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for this opportunity. It is an honor to be able to express my views to an audience such as this. My name is Brian Connor, and I am running for the District 4 County Commissioner. I will bring a proactive voice to the County Commission. I will do the homework to make sure that I am well informed on all county subjects. Since the primary, it has been a roller coaster of emotions and physical activity. Emphasis on physical activity. I have truly enjoyed the interaction with 4th District constituents. Their passion and direction provides me with a clear path for District 4. Protect the environment, continue to ensure the health and safety of all Winona County residents, grow business and the economy, and the rights of all individuals. I will support and encourage a team approach for Winona County. This team is comprised of technology, education, agriculture, and manufacturing. These 4 members are the engines that drive Winona County. They are intertwined and should work in conjunction with one another. They are essential to the growth and health of Winona County. I will also bring this team approach to the County Commissioner Board. My commitments include my family, my job, and county. I've been married to my wife, Gloria, for 34 years and have 2 children, Brent and Kelly. I have worked at Benchmark for 32 years. My involvement in the county includes over 15 years as a Minnesota DNR Youth Hunter Safety Instructor and the 4-H leader.
Thank you. Mr. Greg Olson.
Thank you to the League of Women Voters for allowing this forum tonight. 9 years ago, I sat at this very same table and asked for the support of District 4 voters. I prepared myself by attending board and budget meetings. I took the task seriously. During the last 8 years, our county board has implemented a more efficient and effective government. I have proactively participated, along with my fellow commissioners, in the creation of a new lean and robust county. During the time of enormous economic pressure, we were able to reduce the county tax burden and increase vital government services. During my 2 terms, we were able to consolidate departments and implement a phased retirement program through cooperation with employee groups. We promoted employee training and education to allow internal advancement. We promoted Winona County government as not only a great place to work, but a great place for our employees to achieve their own goals and aspirations while serving Winona County citizens. Many challenges lay ahead. Continued unfunded mandates from the state and federal governments put a continuing strain on our budgets. Aging infrastructure and deferred maintenance on our buildings is a problem that must be addressed, along with a long-term solution for our jail. With challenges lay opportunities. Programs that help our fellow citizens who suffer from mental health issues are helping us to face the realization that jailing them is not the answer. Effective treatment and compassionate assistance is. We have the opportunity to be part of a long-term solution. Out-of-home placements continue to pressure our budget resources as we look for long-term solutions to help the families involved. We are not going to shirk our responsibility nor bury our heads in the sand or worse, walk away. We're not going to do that in Winona County. Experience counts. Together we've come a long way in Winona County, but there's much more to do. I'm asking you to stay the course with me in District 4, and I'm asking you for your continued support in November. Thank you.
Thank you. And now Steve Jacob.
Good evening. Thank you as well to the League of Women Voters for providing this very valuable service to our community. My name is Steve Jacob. I've been married to my wife, Mary, for 28 years. We've had 4 children. I'm a 4th generation family farmer and a small business owner. I've been involved in many area organizations, and I'm a lifetime member of my local church, where I've just recently finished serving my second term as an elder. I'm proud of the accomplishments that we've achieved during my first term. Most recently, I brought forward an initiative to open our roads to allow ATVs and UTVs to use our county and township roads. This provides a great service to our community while enhancing safety on our roads, protecting nesting habitat, and reducing erosion in our road ditches. During the ATV-UTV ordinance process, I reached out to the Farm Bureau, the Township Officers Association, National Farmers Union, and other area stakeholders. All of these organizations supported and contributed to the process to bring this great service forward. In contrast, when I reached out to Land Stewardship Project, an organization to which my opponent is a board member, my opponent and his organization failed to support the ATV ordinance. Other accomplishments we achieved during my first term include bringing broadband coverage to wide swaths of our county. We've done major cleanups of area dumping sites and added no dumping sign to those areas. I've brought funding to the St. Charles Food Shelf, thereby putting St. Charles on level ground with the city of Winona. I've saved the county hundreds of thousands of dollars through privatization of our county surveyor position. We also successfully updated our comprehensive land use plan with the unanimous vote of support at the township level. And coincidentally, my opponent failed to support any of those initiatives. Lastly, I'm proud Winona County is nearly debt-free. That is something we can all feel good about. I thank the citizens of Winona County for their support these last 4 years. I'm humbled and proud to be a servant of this great county. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now, Mr. Reddy. Vince Reddy.
Good evening. My name is Vince Reddy. I'm running for the 3rd District County Board seat, and I want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this. I'd like to thank the media and my friends and neighbors who came to participate. I'm a semi-retired registered nurse. I've been married about 40 years. I can never remember. I live in Saratoga Township with my family. I've lived in the Saratoga Township and St. Charles area for all of my adult life. I've been an active community member, a 35-year volunteer in the school system there, and I'm involved in many civic activities in our area. I'd like people to know where I stand on a number of issues and how I address things. First of all, I want to represent the citizens, my neighbors, rather than push through a personal dogma or agenda. We all realize that not everyone will be happy with every decision. But I believe that every person who cares to be heard deserves respectful listening. I believe that we live in the finest place that there is. Minnesota is listed in several magazines as the best place to raise children, to work, to retire. Winona County and Minnesota have enviably low unemployment rates. This is a great place to live, and if we need to concentrate our efforts on sustainable growth. I believe we need to remain attractive to new members of our workforce and new industries. A number of pressing issues are presently on our county agenda, among them rationing transportation dollars, strip mining in our region, puppy mills, the jail, budget shortfalls. I'm expecting that these will be brought up in the audience question time, and I'm prepared to address them at that time. Thank you very much for being here tonight.
Thank you, audience, for submitting the questions. And now we will begin with our first audience question. And the first question does go to Greg Olson. What are your 3 top priorities for the next term?
The jail priority, as we just had our report last week, we are going to be looking for a long-term solution for our jail. So that is something that we'll continue to work on. We have to work on our out-of-home placements, which is through our social programs. That continues to be a major expense on our budget. And as was passed at yesterday's meeting, we have a half-cent sales tax that is now going to be taking place, which will go towards our roads. So those will be 3 items that I believe that we'll be working on in the next few years.
Thank you. Steve?
Most importantly, having compassion for those that carry the tax burden. Many of us want to expand programs and expand the services that the county can provide, but more importantly to me is to show compassion to the people who have to fund those programs. So that's my number one concern. We need to continue to support our core functions, and we need to stop the expansion of government. So those would be the top 3. Along with that, we've been doing very good at eliminating our county debt. We're on course to have our last debt retired in 4 years, and we need to maintain our infrastructure. So those are the top priorities for me.
Thank you. Vince?
My view of the current priorities in the county, I would agree that the jail is one of the most pressing issues, that we have to examine all of the options on the table. There's a group helping out with that quite a bit, who's going to give us some options, but we have to look at diversion. We have to be open-minded about it and not fall into the trap that Waukesha County fell into recently with their jail. We need to do it before, because right now other counties are making a profit boarding our prisoners, which is a bad expenditure of money, I believe. The budget would also be one thing. It's not that different than a home budget. There are things that you have to pay. You have to have the money to pay them, and there's nothing, no unrealistic promises that I could make about that. Right now, in the state of Minnesota, our property taxes are a little bit above the middle in the whole state.
Thank you. Brian?
Currently, the commission is looking at a levy, which already we have a 10.5%, Winona City has got a 10.5% levy going on, and Goodview just implemented a levy. We need to look at that in detail alongside with already establishing a half-cent sales tax. The jail needs to be addressed. We have been curtailed as far as what we can do as far as inmates. We have to shuttle them around throughout the state, and it's costing us a lot of money. So I think the jail is one of the main things we need to address here in the future.
And our next question will begin with Vince. The department heads have submitted budget requests that would increase the levy by a reported $2 million. What should be done? Do you support this amount?
We have to take care of anything that's mandated, and the department heads, I believe, understand that. There are some programs we have are optional that we could look at, but mandated programs we simply have to support. And unfortunately, the money will have to come from somewhere. We have a discretionary fund we can dip into from time to time. We can't keep doing that over and over. I don't have any magic way of manufacturing money. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. And Brian?
Regarding the levy, we need to push back to the state legislator district. We have to make sure that we get the monies that are owed to us from the state. From a 4th district standpoint, a levy will put a lot of onus on people that are on a fixed income, and we need to make sure that they do not get over excised on the taxes and the levies associated with that.
And Greg?
Great question. We've sat through recently several all-day budget meetings, at least some of us have, and we've looked at the the budget in a holistic sense. We've looked at it line item by line item. And we've also addressed our legislators with the unfunded mandates. The preliminary proposal has not been decided yet, but it will be on our board agenda coming up. It's looking like even if Winona County does nothing with no growth, that the costs continue to rise due to inflation. We can't just stick our heads in the sand and think that county government costs will not go up with at least inflationary costs.
And Steve, did you have your opportunity?
I have not.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, the budget is it's true, it's very tight. We need to continue to push back against the state on unfunded mandates. I've brought forward ideas in the past. We've talked about whether or not we need to pave all of our road shoulders throughout the county, privatization of different services within the county. We need to look at everything. We'll have to find the right balance, and that's exactly what we're doing. So.
Thank you. Now on to the next question, and I messed up, so I guess you have to start again, Vince. Land use zoning rules apply to rural residents and not city residents. How do you balance citizen concerns with zoning rules?
We have a county comprehensive plan. Pages 31 and 32 deal exactly with that. We need to respect the land, and that's a county-wide concern. It's not a rural city issue. Our county does better, we all do better. We should all care. I care about what happens in the city of Winona. I don't want Winona to become a neglected slum or anything like that. And I'm sure the people that live in Winona care about the region where we live. I just don't believe in starting a rural-urban divide kind of thing. It's our county, we take care of it, we do the best we can with it. The land use issues are extremely important because that is our legacy. What we do with our land lasts forever. Thank you.
Brian?
In 2014, they established a comprehensive land use program, and that established the zoning laws associated. And regarding, like you said, we don't want a slum in Winona City. And so there are issues and there's regulations put forth in the city of Winona. And it's not a rural-urban divide. It makes sense to allow zoning issues associated with the rural on its own versus the urban. So I do applaud the comprehensive land use that was established in 2014.
Greg?
Well, just as the city of Winona is part of Winona County, and Winona County is part of the state of Minnesota, we all have a say in how we want the state to look and how our county to look. The Planning Commission is purposely established with members of both our city and rural residents, and it is done that way purposely so that we get a goal of looking at the common good for all, and that the zoning uses are appropriate for our county, and everybody that lives in the county should have a say in that process.
Thank you. Steve?
We need to respect our property rights. We need to respect our environment. We need to look for common ground. We need to bring both sides of the issue to the table, and we need to be fair. And a perfect example of that would be when I ran 4 years ago. When I took office, I quickly worked to establish the Rural Heritage District, and it's a very fair solution. It stops our bluffs from being exploited, but respects the individual rights of the people that already existed prior to the adoption of that amendment. So I think we're right on the right course, right on the right track with what we're doing.
Thank you. Now, Brian, for the next question. What is your position on the City of Winona annexing township land for growth considerations?
I feel I go back to what I was talking about the team approach, technology, education, agriculture, manufacturing, and they are combined and they are intertwined, and we need to grow the Winona County. And so by annexing land from townships and that, I feel that we need to look forward to growing the Winona County as far as maybe moving up into the I-90 corridor to get more housing for new people.
Thank you.
Could you
Greg?
repeat the question, please?
Yes. What is your position on the City of Winona annexing township land for corridor growth?
Well, as that growth occurs, one thing is required, and it's infrastructure. The City of Winona has a long-standing approach that they will provide the sewer and water services necessary for that infrastructure with annexation of the land. I guess industry, in order to expand, will need the infrastructure brought to their land, and that's the way that it's going to work for expansion with needed services.
Thank you. Steve?
Well, this, as so many different issues, if we're looking at the Township of Wilson, needs to be willing participation from all parties. So, as with so many other issues, bring both sides of the issue to the table, find common ground, reach a compromise, and find a fit for the community.
Thank you. Vince?
Because of the geography of Winona, it's unavoidable, I believe, that there will be some annexation in order to expand. The city annexation for growth would hopefully be done with the cooperation of the township. Many times it's easier than people think, because people that live outside of the city of Winona are often glad to have the services associated with the city utilities. It's a good time to negotiate fair assessments as we annex other places. Thank you.
Yes. And now for the next question. Greg? Has the county taken a position or offered a solution on the Minnesota Rail Plan? Is there a county rail authority? What should the county's position be?
There is a high-speed rail committee at the county level, and we do send representation to those meetings so that we can have a voice in that process. The high-speed rail is looking at the corridor from Chicago to Minneapolis and trying to include ourselves in the Rochester equation.
Thank you. Steve?
Well, the rail system is a government almost unto itself. It does come through our community. We need to be involved with their regulations, their rules process, and make the decisions that protect our community. So, again, being involved, working together, cooperation, participation.
Thank you, Steve. And Vince?
As Steve was saying, railroad, they do have rules of their own, and we have to be very careful when they annex adjacent areas for rail property, because you can never change that, and it's very, very difficult to regulate them. I think, though, that high-speed rail is a good way of thinking of our future. It's a way of transporting people and lessening the carbon footprint of automotive and truck traffic. And I think the high-speed rail group, I hope that they make some progress, including the city and the county in their routes. Thank you.
Brian?
It would be a fantastic thing if we could get a shuttle or some type of a system from Winona County to Rochester, but currently the high-speed system is set up to go from the Twin Cities through Rochester to Chicago. Again, it would be fantastic if we can get a shuttle going up from Winona County to Rochester in some form.
Thank you. And for the next question, Steve, we'll start with you. How would you and the other county commissioners work together to keep agriculture strong with our farm families and to keep our youth interested? How can you help this issue in Winona County?
Sure. We have to make sure that our regulations are inviting and that they're serve to not just protect the environment, but also serve to encourage business. We need to certainly, one of the issues that we brought forward about 6 months ago was to look at our animal unit cap. We need to have a committee to study that, to review it, see whether it's the right fit, and bring all the stakeholders together and have the proper communication and find the right solution.
Thank you. Vince?
Winona is agriculture. Winona County is agriculture. The greatest land use in Winona County are my agricultural neighbors, my farm neighbors. Keeping youth here is very, very difficult on the farm. Right now, my neighbors who need to milk cows have a terrible time finding employees. It's very, very difficult to find milking help right now. I think that we have to do whatever we can to help the family farm, give them a break wherever we can, and be flexible with family farmers. I think there's absolutely no profit in bringing in outside groups from Arkansas, et cetera, to establish what I refer to as a factory farm here with low-paid people and things that are not good for the county. The animal unit cap is a difficult thing to think about because 1,500 animals, but you can expand at a different site and have animals at that site.
Thank you. Brian?
In a county that has over 400,000 acres, with over 200,000 acres that's for agricultural purposes, we really do need to support the agricultural businesses through 4-H, FFA programs. We need to look at the animal cap situation. I go back to my team approach with technology, education, manufacturing. We just have to make sure that we look at the progress that has happened in the agricultural business in the last 18 years since that cap was put in place. I think back to 18 years ago and what was the most basic or the best cell phone at that time was like a Nokia phone, which only had, you could call out, you could text. That's about it.
Thank you.
Well, agriculture continues to be a very strong economic driver in our county. And as a county commissioner, I think we need to promote responsible agriculture. I know that the animal cap units came up, that question came up, and just last month we had the MPC report showing our streams and wells that were polluted and affected directly from agriculture. So we have to have a balanced approach. The smaller farms are probably the answer. We have a good partnership with our soil and water conservation group through the county. We need to support their efforts in supporting the family farm.
Thank you. Next question, and we'll begin with Vince. Please share one of your strengths that will help you in this elected position. Give some examples.
I think what I bring to this position is I've been an emergency room nurse for 40 years. There aren't that many problems that I have come across, some of which you wouldn't even believe. I always fall back on there are risks to everything we do and there are benefits to everything we do, and we should weigh them one against another. Instead of risk, you could substitute the word expense. Things have to be better for people with the lowest risk possible. That's my simple. I think I'm used to dealing with crises, and I bring that to the table. Thank you.
Thank you. And Brian?
I'm going to bring a proactive voice to the County Commission Board. I'm a problem solver. I deal with a lot of different groups. I deal with vendors. I deal with international people of different cultures, different sections, different sectors. And I lead as far as finding a problem and finding the solution to that issue. I will work with a team in a team format and make sure that we come up with a solution.
Thank you. Greg?
I've had extensive experience working with county and city government. I've worked for the city of Rolling Stone as their public works director. I continue to work with the city of Stockton as their building official. I worked for the city of Winona for 15 years with code enforcement and ordinance enforcement. I now work in Houston County as their facilities foreman, working directly in their jail facility. So that's a great step up as we discuss our new jail here.
And Steve?
One of the main qualities I bring to the table is that I've been a uniter. I reach out to all of our city councils and township boards within our county. There's 16 different precincts in District 3. I attend all those meetings at least a couple times a year, bring their issues to the table. I come from a standpoint of grassroots level government up, collect their concerns, their issues, bring those to county government, take that up pole to, I've made many trips to the state capitals, frequently 3-4 trips a year to bring those issues to the Capitol, be an advocate for our local government. I believe in grassroots level government up, not large government imposing itself onto the citizenry. So that's my quality.
Thank you. Greg, we'll give you this next one to begin with. What is the role of the county commissioner dealing with the aging population? How do you propose we increase transportation so older adults can stay involved in the community?
At a recent budget meeting, and this will be coming back to us, we are working with the senior advocacy group in Winona to provide just those services, to reach out to our rural aged population, to assist them in not only getting the necessary services that they need, but also to stay in the home if they so choose, and to bring those services to them.
Steve?
Can I hear the question again?
Yes. What is the role of the county commissioner dealing with the aging population? How do you propose we increase transportation so older adults can stay involved in the community?
This is a great place for volunteer services. This is a great place for the county to facilitate any place where churches want to be involved, any place people want to volunteer. This is a good time. This is a good issue where if people want to help out with transportation, and it's something I've done personally at my local town, is to provide a driving service from my local town to Mayo Clinic for when people need transportation back and forth. Volunteering is a perfect fit for this.
Thank you. Vince?
I've been quite involved in this. It makes a huge difference to someone who does not have a partner that they live with and is unable to drive themselves, especially for medical appointments. When they miss an appointment, it often winds up causing them a deterioration of their health, loss of getting a prescription refilled, a number of things. I'm afraid we can't count on volunteers entirely for this. We have to have a backup program. And I think that we need to look at a possibility of a mileage reimbursement or some kind of stipend for that volunteer to encourage them to be faithful to that. In St. Charles, we have the shopping and appointments bus that's doing very, very well there. It's made a big difference in St. Charles for a nominal fee. Thank you.
Yes. Greg, here's a hot one.
Oh, wait.
Ban or compromise on the sand issue?
I
Brian.
would,
Brian had an answer.
Brian, excuse me.
okay. I'm kind of looking at this one in a couple different avenues. Personally, I think that the planning committee has already given their opinion and given it, they looked at all the different options and the input. I would say that the state of Minnesota has not decided on going with a ban. I would say that personally, I would go with what the planning committee has said and that stay with that and go with the compromise. So,
Thank you. Greg?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Ban or compromise on the sand issue? Reasons why?
Well, I've sat at at so many planning commission meetings, so many public hearings. I've listened to the facts, and I will not compromise anything that threatens our bluffs, our groundwater, our roads, or our future.
Thank you. Steve?
Yeah. The compromise was drafted by myself, so obviously I support the compromise language. This has been very divisive in our community. The problem is pitting neighbor against neighbor, making them take one side or the other, and not looking for common ground. The compromise offers an opportunity for just that, to bring both sides of the issue to the table. And to have a ban will not solve the problem in the long run. It'll make the people who want the ban happy now, but inevitably the county board will change. And then the ban would likely be voted out. And then we'll be back to fighting over the same issue again. A compromise is needed. We need to get a unanimous county board vote, whatever that compromise is. That's the only way to heal the community and put this issue to rest.
Thank you. Vince?
The word compromise generally means something that's close to 50-50. Right now, there are environmental assessment worksheets for, I believe, 4 mines in Saratoga Township, the most 6. Each environmental assessment worksheet states that they generate 600 truck trips a day per mine, and a proposal for 6 times 600 truck trips, that's 3,600 trips. It would change the character of the county immensely. To me, that's not a compromise at all. It's simply a defeat. The community is realizing divisiveness from this issue, and I believe that a ban would put the issue to rest once and for all. Thank you.
Yes. Next question for Greg. How would you judge whether criminal justice programs aimed at preventing and reducing recidivism are worth investing in?
Many of those programs that are coming forth are done through a grant program to initiate the program, to weigh the pros and cons of it, and then hopefully to implement that program for long-term savings. We know, as we've seen through the mental health challenges with individuals, that locking them up in jail is not the answer. That's a long-term cost that never goes away. We also know that the diversion programs work. We have a drug court program that is working for individuals. We've had graduates. Not only does that make a difference for our community, but it makes a huge difference for the individual involved and their family. And if it just accomplishes that, it's a success.
Thank you. Steve?
Sure. The way to measure it is, are there less inmates? Are we reducing the number of inmates in our facilities? I've been supportive of the CJCC functions in the past. Ultimately, with our potential, our downgrading of our jail and what we'll potentially do with that in the future, it'll be some type of hybrid between utilizing our existing facilities, utilizing good criminal justice systems, and perhaps some type of expansion, along with the very capable staff that we have on duty, our law enforcement and our criminal justice system. We have some of the very best. So we'll have some type of hybrid into the future that'll be a good fit. And I will support that.
Vince?
It's an investment in our future. Any investment we make, the CJCC has done wonderful work in Winona County. They've made a big difference. We can't measure recidivism in a few months or even a year. It's something that's going to take years. And recidivism is a drain economically and on human resources in any county. We have to invest in the poorest among us and the people who have the most problems. It helps our county's future. Property crimes, being in jail, and drug courts it's made a big difference, having fewer people that commit property crimes jailed for that, nonviolent crimes. We're going to find out a way to do it better by looking at some of the programs we've already done now, looking at the future, and measure from year to year what kind of a rate we achieve. Thank you.
Brian?
One of the biggest problems that we're seeing with the county jail system and even statewide is the mental health problems that we're seeing, where too many people are being locked up instead of getting the mental health that they deserve. We talked about the diversion programs. That's something that is working, but we need to address further looking at the mental health prior to locking up individuals.
Thank you. For our last question for the evening, and we begin with Steve. Should we let our bituminous surface county roads through agriculture areas revert to crushed rock? What is your plan for county infrastructure, roads and bridges?
My constituents that have had a bituminous road are not going to tolerate that road going back to crushed rock. Part of the solution, and it's the first tax I've ever voted in favor of, was the step to adopt a half-cent sales tax yesterday. That'll pave an additional 6 miles of road annually. If that tax is on for 5 years, that covers another 30 miles of roads. So, no, I'm not going to allow if the question clearly is, am I going to allow our roads to go back to crushed rock? I'm not going to. If they've been paved, they'll continue to be paved.
Thank you. Vince?
Thank you. I live on a crushed rock road. I hate it. It's dusty. And there aren't that many things that Steve and I agree on. He tries to give me advice from time to time, and I try to take it, but crushed rock is not a place that we can't revert from bituminous back to crushed rock. It just doesn't make sense. Bituminous roads are safer, they're easier to maintain, and they affect greatly a quality of life when you live in the country. Thank you.
Brian?
Winona County is a beautiful county. I'd love to have everyone go out and drive through the county on a crushed rock road. That's not viable. To see it by bike on a crushed rock road, not even close. I would not support that.
Greg?
I think it's pretty clear that the Winona County citizens, they want safe roads. I did not support the half-cent sales tax, by the way. Traditionally, these roads have been paid for through a gas tax coming from St. Paul and also from local levy. It's been evidenced even with the talk of the silica sand mining, the destruction the trucks would do to the roads. That's a proven equation. There was a fee that was going to be placed on trucks to do that, but it says nothing about the inconvenience of the people living on the road as the roads are being destroyed by those trucks. So farm machinery is on our roads, and I don't think the citizens of Winona County want to revert back to gravel. Thank you.
We're nearing the end of our forum, and we'd like each candidate to present a 1-minute closing remark. And as I mentioned before we began, we started with Brian, so this time we'll start with you, Vince, and go the opposite way.
Thank you. This election of a county commissioner is an event that has a very tangible impact on the everyday lives of Winona County residents, even more so than most federal and state elections. I think it's good to remind ourselves that although most media outlets are saturating the airways with every detail of national candidates' lives and personalities, most of our roads, employment, education, healthcare, prosperity, taxes, and policing are most impacted by our local governments. I'm running for this office because I care about our county and the legacy that we leave to our children. I would appreciate people voting on November the 8th. Thank you very much for your time.
Steve?
Thank you. In closing, I have to say that my opponent has an agenda. He and his organization, Land Stewardship Project, use fear as a means to divide the community over the frac sand issue and pit neighbor against neighbor. He has no interest in things like healing our community, bringing both sides of the issue to the table, finding common ground, compromising, or respecting business and property rights. I, on the other hand, am a uniter. I believe in being fair with both sides of an issue. I believe in compromising and healing. My vision for Winona County is a vision where the people are empowered and the government is contained. I see a county where our environment is protected, while businesses and agriculture of all types and sizes are respected. Under my leadership, I will unite Winona County to work towards stimulating responsible economic development. I'm both humbled and excited to be supported for this very important position, and I ask for your vote this November 8th. Thank you.
Greg?
Isn't it ironic that we are entering into this fall campaign season with a polarizing issue that threatens the very beauty of this area we call home? As we are spoiled by the upcoming fall colors and the visitors to this area can't believe the breathtaking surroundings we take for granted, the ominous threat of industrial silica mining exists. Some at this table don't think this is a threat or want us to believe it isn't. I believe it is. A proposal to ban industrial mining of silica sand in Winona County was reviewed by our Planning Commission, and a compromise proposal was put forth. I will not support any compromise that threatens our bluffs, our groundwater, our roads, or our future, yet some at this table do. Make no mistake, the threat is real, and I will not sell out our future to those who wish to profit at our expense. This election, I hope you can give me the opportunity to continue to move in a positive direction, the right direction, providing effective and efficient government right here in Winona County. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting this event tonight, and thank you to the voters in District 4 for your continued support this November.
Thank you, Greg. Brian?
Again, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for this opportunity. I would also like to thank the audience for attending this event. It is wonderful to see the support for this forum. I have and always will listen to both sides of an issue. I will do the homework on every issue and make an intelligent vote. I look forward to becoming the next 4th District Commissioner. I will make you proud.
We're at the end of our forum, and we want to thank all of the candidates for this informative event. And we'd like to share the dates and the time of upcoming League of Women Voters candidate forums. General election forum that we have 5, Winona County Soil and Water District 235 is this evening beginning at 7:30. I hope you will stay tuned. Then next, we have 7 to 8 on Tuesday, September 20th, the general election Form 6, Winona Area Public School Districts 2, 3, 4, and 5. Information on the referendum ballots. And then on October 4th, the general election Form 7, the first congressional district, and that's from 6:30 to 7:30. And we're pleased to announce 2 League of Women voter registration public events. The Blue Heron Coffee House at 162 West 2nd Street on Monday, September 19th, 2 to 3, and that will be to help people. The League of Women Voters will be there to help with voter registration. And also at the Blooming Grounds downtown Winona location, Wednesday, September 28th, 2 to 3:30. If you need to register to vote or change your address, this needs to be done by October 18th. Join us at the Blue Heron or Blooming Grounds. League of Women Voters will assist you online with your voter registration. Bring your Minnesota driver's license. Thanks again to our hosts for this location to assist in the public. We also would like to thank our co-sponsors. AAW Winona Branch, Project Fine, Winona's Resource Center of Winona, Winona State University Social Work students, American Democracy Project, and the Student Senate. We would also like to thank HBC for taping this educational forum. Pending the availability of the public access government channels, we do plan to rebroadcast all of these forums. It will also be on the League of Women Voter Winona Facebook page in a few days. Currently, the Facebook League of Women Voter page, the cities of Winona and Goodview forums are available for viewing. If you need information on becoming a registered voter, call the Winona County Auditor or the Winona City Clerk. If you are not registered to vote and are planning to vote, you may register to vote online at the Minnesota Secretary of State's office until October 18th for the general election. Minnesota has registration at the polls and online. You may register at the polls. Check the Minnesota Secretary of State's website on the process, as several items of identification must be provided on election day to election judges. You may also go to the Minnesota League of Women Voter Organization, ORG, as a website and used for general voter services. Please vote. The general election is on Tuesday, November 8th. The polls are open at 7 a.m. through 8 p.m. Stay tuned to this channel for at 7:30, the Winona County Soil and Water Districts 2, 3, and 5 candidates forum will be presented. Have a good evening.